We are with Sabrina Ghayour, the author of Sirocco, a new book about Middle Eastern flavors. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure, thanks for having me.
So let's talk a little bit about approaching Middle Eastern flavors for those who maybe aren't as familiar, because obviously the Middle East is a huge place with so many different cuisines. How do you sort of look at it from this macro level?
I think it's important not to give it too much thought. I think probably the easiest approach is not to try and deeply educate people about it, and rather just focus on the ingredients and just show people how I use them and how they are useful, because more importantly, I just think that these flavors are a great addition, not alternative, but addition to most people's kitchens and most people's lives. I find in my kitchen, they help me put something really simple together when I, let's say, take what by definition would be Western produce, let's say fennel or, you know, butternut squash that we don't really use in the Middle East, but I pair it with maybe just a pinch of za'atar, or maybe I make a quick salsa and put some preserved lemons in it. It's how these ingredients can integrate into whatever you're doing at home and really just boom, really lift them in a wonderful way, you know, a really delicious but simple way. And moreover, how storage friendly they are, because they're all dry or preserved ingredients. So the shelf life is really conducive to everyday, you know, life.
And so you've brought some ingredients here that are really the places to start if you want to add a few things to your pantry. Tell me a little bit about what you've brought and how people can sort of get started when approaching Middle Eastern food.
Sure. So basically we have some ingredients that people are comfortable with and recognize. So we have ground turmeric powder, we have cinnamon. Now I know Americans love cinnamon because it's an apple pie and it's,
we like it in desserts,
we love it, and I love it.
We need to get on board with having it in our savory.
And it's so diverse, and actually it goes on things that you would never think about. Most, you know, Brits don't think about it. And one of the things that I always tease people, I sort of always joke about in classes, is when I apply cinnamon onto, let's say, into a stew. We'll call it a stew rather than a tagine, or it's just a stew. And people are like, oh wow, that's a lot of cinnamon. I was like, promise it won't taste like apple pie, I promise. They work so well. We have cumin. This is just ground cumin, and you can get that, you know, most grocery stores. And then we also have a little bit more exotic, perhaps I would say, a little bit more special. So we have sumac. For people that don't know what sumac is, it's just a very simple red berry that grows in clusters, and they dry it and grind it down, and it has a very lemony flavor. So it's not particularly aggressive or spicy, it's quite fresh.
Right, so we add a little zest into it.
Yeah, you can, and it's great with fish, because sometimes when you're squeezing lemon onto fish, if it's a delicate white fish, it can kill it. But sumac actually is a really great pairing with it, and great in salads and whatnot. And then we have za'atar. So za'atar is an Arab word for wild thyme. And this is a blend, so this is just thyme, and it has a bit of toasted sesame seeds, and it's just essentially ground thyme, but it's fantastic for root vegetables and squashes and meats and fish. Lastly, we have, so this is the kind of red chili flakes that we're all familiar with. We have a pepper called Aleppo pepper, and sometimes known as pul biber for Turks. That features heavily in my book, and I absolutely love it, which is really easy to find along with a lot of these things, especially online. But it's milder, so for people who aren't terribly used to, or they want a little bit, they don't want the big punchy introduction to it, it's wonderful, and it's very versatile, and just a little sprinkle on even pasta. It doesn't have to be Middle Eastern stuff. It really works.
And so beyond the spices, you also have a few other items here. Tell me a little bit about some of these other items you have.
So this is my pantry kit. These are this is my joy right here.
Staple, everyday use.
Yes. So we have here, this ingredient for me is, this is the most Persian ingredient here. This is pomegranate molasses. It is basically 100% concentrated pomegranate juice, but it's kind of really sweet but also tart. a great salad dressing, great marinade, a great sauce for roasted meats if you sweeten it with a little bit of honey. So versatile. And then we have here preserved lemons. This is traditionally a North African ingredient, and it's lemons that are just packed in salt and water. And what happens after, let's say, a few weeks, and you can do this perfectly easily at home.
Right, you can make them more vibrant.
Exactly. It just gives it makes the texture on the inside a little bit gelatinous in a really lovely way, and you can just chop them up and throw them in salads and dressings and sauces, or blitz some of these actually with this harissa, which is a ground chili paste, again from North Africa, and slap that on roast. It's like roasted chicken, you know, piece of fish. It's fantastic. And harissa, I'll show you, is just this wonderful red, thick paste. It's, if you love chili, for me, this is a must for chili lovers, because it's just a combination of various different chilies ground down, and you would buy this as a condiment, like if you were in North Africa in the market, it would be a big stack of it ready done, and they'd give you a scoop and you're on your way. Preserved, lasts forever. You can stir it into things like sauces, dips, salsas, pasta sauces, but I use it a lot to create a chili taste. Like I have a recipe for mussels in there, harissa mussels. I just use it like I would use maybe chili flakes.
Well, Sabrina, thank you so much for giving us this amazing introduction, and obviously if you want more, the book is Sirocco. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.